Alright, let's take a look at congruent triangles and corresponding parts of congruent triangles. So let's ask this question. What does it mean for two triangles to be congruent? If two triangles are congruent, then the corresponding parts of the two congruent triangles are also congruent. So let us define a couple of words that this statement makes more sense. First, the word parts refers to the sides and angles of a triangle. So when you talk about corresponding parts, you're talking about the sides and angles of a triangle. Second, the word corresponding means similar in position, purpose, or form. We dealt with corresponding before when we worked with parallel lines and a transversal. Then we talked about corresponding angles. So, for example, those two that I marked would be corresponding. Another example in real life would be, for example, corresponding locations at the elementary school and the high school are the library and the media center. While they go by different names and are at different locations, the library and the media center serve similar purposes. In regards to congruent triangles, two corresponding sides may lie on two different triangles, but they are corresponding because they have exactly the same length. So let's fill in the blank. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom corresponds to the President of the United States. So thinking about that in real life again, Prime Minister is the leader of the United Kingdom, and the President is the leader of the United States. The video cassette tape of the 1980s corresponds to the blank of the 2000s. Here, CDs, would be the corresponding item. Because in the 80s, people used video cassette tapes to listen to music. And in the 2000s, they started off using CDs. Alright, so suppose the two triangles below are congruent. Use your knowledge of correspondence. Side AB would likely correspond to side... So if we look at here's AB. Based on what we worked on yesterday, if I reflected this onto this guy, side AB would reflect and match up with side DE. So using the two congruent triangles above, we can write 6 congruent statements based on this idea of correspondence. So there are 6 statements that we can identify if two triangles are congruent. Triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Then, side AB is congruent to side DE. Side BC is congruent to EF. Side AC is congruent to side DF. So we can identify 3 pairs of congruent sides, and then 3 pairs of congruent angles. Angle D corresponds to angle A. Angle B corresponds with angle E. And angle C corresponds with angle F, and in this triangle they are congruent because they told us that the two triangles were congruent. The order of the letters in the triangle congruent statement, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF, is important. Corresponding angles must be written in the same spots. For example, since angle A is congruent to angle D, they must be in identical positions in the statement. Thus, A and D are both listed first, and the same goes for the other letters. So suppose I give you a statement, such as triangle RST is congruent to triangle XYZ. Write the 6 congruent statements as in the box above. So there are 6 things you can tell me just by looking at this. First, you can tell me the 3 pairs of congruent sides. If it helps you, we can draw triangles. Let's name this RST and XYZ. So you can use the triangles to help you, or you can use the statement. The first 2 letters are RS, so that's side RS. RS is congruent to side XY. And looking at the triangles I drew, you can see the relationship there. Now I use the last 2 letters. ST is congruent to YZ. Again, you can see that relationship with the picture I drew. And then the last pair are the first and the third letters in the statement. So RT is congruent to XZ. And you can see that as well, both being the slanted sides. So there's 3 of the 6 things. The other 3 things that we can talk about are the angles. And this, I think the statement's pretty easy to use because you just match up the corresponding letters. R matches with X, so angle R is congruent to angle X. S matches with Y, so angle S is congruent to angle Y. And T is the 3rd position, and Z is the 3rd position, so angle T is congruent to angle Z. And there's the 6 statements you can make about corresponding triangles.